Hello, I'm Josh Fossgreen. I have been a gigging bass player since I was a teenager, and these are 5 things I wish I'd learned a whole lot sooner. Number 1, get to the gig early. Don't just be on time, be early, because there's so many becauses, and I really wish I'd learned this sooner. When you try to get to a gig on time, you don't end up leaving enough time to account for traffic or parking or all of the other things that you aren't able to actually plan for. So by trying to be there early, you strongly increase your chances of getting there on time. And my most embarrassing story about not getting to the gig on time is I was, I don't know how old I was, 17 or 18, definitely still a teenager. I had a funk gig in Cotati, California at the Redwood Cafe. We had an 8 o'clock downbeat, and I believe I showed up at 7:45 to start playing at 8. So I roll up, and the band leader is like, dude, WTF, like, I've been super worried. I tried calling you, blah, blah, blah. And I, in my youthful ignorance, was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll be ready. I thought it was fine for me to get there that late because I didn't need very much time to set up. But showing up on time isn't just about my setup. It's also about my band leader knowing that they don't have to worry about whether their bass player is going to show up to the gig or not. And having time to connect with people before you start playing together. And just nothing wrong. Nothing can go wrong if you show up early. Just bring a book if you're actually too early, but so much of the time you're just there at the perfect time when you try to be early. Number 2, overprepare for the gig. Listen to all the songs as much as you can. Make charts for stuff that you need to make charts for. Communicate with the band leader or whoever you're talking to about this stuff, about chord changes you're not sure about, what to play, where to lay out, any of that stuff you're not sure about. Iron it out before you get to the gig, because nothing sucks more than someone calling a tune when you're on stage and you're not ready. Whether you didn't know they were going to call it or you just didn't spend the time getting prepared, and then you don't play the right bass line or just otherwise make a fool of yourself. You get to feel a lot calmer and happier on a gig if you're overprepared. Number 3, have a helpful attitude at the gig. This could mean a lot of different things, but here's a couple of the things that I mean by it. First of all, it means me having my shit super together so that I'm ready to help other people. So that means I have good gear, I have everything packed well so that I can set up quickly, and that makes me ready to help other people with their setup. Maybe the singer had to bring their own PA, maybe the drummer has a lot of stuff to load from their car. As a bass player, we often don't have the most stuff or the most things to worry about, so that means that we get to be a helpful person and help the people we're playing music with. I think there's situations where you want to be careful about how much you lend yourself. You know, if anyone's taking advantage of you, obviously that's different. But most of the time, you're playing music with nice people, and if you see that somebody has a ton of gear to move or something, just offer to help. I've made a habit of this. You know, I'll usually finish setting up long before the drummer and maybe the guitar player. So when I'm done and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the show to start, and we still have time, then I just ask everybody, is there anything you need help with? And then if everyone says no, then I go read my book or whatever. But that's one thing. And then on a musical level, being helpful on stage and being over-prepared enough that you can help people if anyone else is struggling with a form thing or a chord change thing or any musical issue like that. And for me, the attitude shift that took a while was to just think from a helpful perspective when stuff like that happened, rather than to get annoyed or resentful about like, oh, this guy doesn't even know the changes or whatever. Rather than acting like that on stage, just think, okay, how can I try to communicate so that we sound better as a unit and make better music for the people listening? Number 4, bring useful things. That means not just bringing your bass and your cable and your amp and like the bare essentials you need to do the gig, but bring stuff that you would need if something went wrong. So bring spare batteries, bring spare instrument cables, maybe spare power cables for your amp or speaker cable, bring extra picks, power power strips and extension cords. I always bring a Furman power strip with a 25-foot extension because that's often an issue. There's not power in the right place, or you can help somebody out by having a power strip. It means that you'll carry some extra pounds of stuff and it might not seem worth it, but similar to having insurance on your car or whatever, when you do need it, it's a really good thing that you have it. And it's also another opportunity to be helpful. I had a New Year's Eve gig last New Year's Eve, and the guitar player had a dead battery in his acoustic guitar, so the preamp and the output wasn't working. So we had to wait around for somebody to go get us one because we were like out in the sticks playing an outdoor gig. Meanwhile, I normally have spare 9 volts in my gig bag, and if I had one, we could have started on time and I could have saved the day and been like, yes, bass player saves the day. But I didn't have spare 9 volts on me that one time, and so our downbeat got delayed and it affected the gig negatively. So always bring those extra goodies. Number 5, don't noodle on stage. Oh my God, did I have a hard time not noodling on stage for so many years, and I'm pretty good at it now. I think we all struggle a little bit, but for God's sake, don't noodle on stage. It's super unprofessional. As a band member who is hearing someone else noodle, it's really annoying because you're probably trying to sound check or make sure your gear's working, listen for noise from your amp, make sure your pedal levels are the same, whatever. And somebody noodling is helpful 0% of the time. And as an audience member, if you're noodling while there are like people already in the bar or wherever you're playing, it's so lame. It gives away all the suspense. It's like if you started watching a movie and at the beginning it's like, by the way, here's something that happens in the middle of the movie. You'd be like, stop it. What is this, a Tarantino movie? Okay, that does happen in movies sometimes, but like it was happening as an accident, not as an intelligent Quentin Tarantino decision. So annoying because you want some suspense as an audience member of like, ooh, what's this gonna sound like? I wonder, I feel curious. And if you just hear the bass player just playing whatever BS that they feel like playing before the show starts, it just takes away the suspense, and it's generally considered unprofessional by the musicians that I have spoken to about it. So I recommend that you don't do that. Get your noodles out at home so you feel all noodled up, come to the gig, set up your gear. Once you're set up, put your bass down if you have to get yourself not to noodle. You shouldn't be holding your bass unless it's time to play or sound check. Those are my top 5 things that I wish I'd learned a whole lot sooner as a gigging bassist. What are your things? Let me know in the comments below. Let's all laugh at ourselves and share some helpful bits. Please subscribe if you want to see more things, and check me out on Patreon if you want to get cool bonuses like PDFs of sheet music and tab when we do exercisey stuff. And also there will be a bonus video for this video where I talk about a couple other things I wish I learned a whole lot sooner. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.